Hello everyone, welcome to this YouTube video. My name is David Onuche and I am a Flutter developer. I've built mobile application using Flutter during the course of my years as a Flutter developer, which is going to over 3 years now being a Flutter developer. I've developed multiple mobile applications using Flutter and other platforms also involved, just like Firebase and the likes. In this YouTube video, I'm going to be teaching you step by step on how to go about if you are a new or a beginner into mobile development or Flutter in general now. So now the reason I'm making this video is that a number of people have reached out to me saying, David, I want to start as a Flutter developer. What should I do? Where should I start from? So now I'm going to be giving you step by step, breaking it down to you on how to start as a Flutter developer. My goal is to build people and systems that transform lives and nations. So if you are a person that is on the go to transform life and nations, then I'm here to assist you, also help you in achieving that dream and that vision. So during the course of this video, you'll see me taking a drink, and this is because I just want to pull off and not burn out during the course of the video, because I'm just going to be making it straight off and might not even edit it at some point. So with that said, let's go straight into the video. Welcome to Flutter. So basically, what is Flutter? Sometimes I'm going to be reading from what I've written down so that I don't miss out some points. So I took out time to write down some things. So Flutter is Google UI toolkit that lets you build mobile applications, cross-platform applications now, using one code base. So you can build, that means you can build Android applications, you can build iOS applications, you can build web applications, you can build desktop application using Flutter. Now you don't have to write different code from for the user app or for the Android app and the iOS app. All you just have to do is to write one particular code that would function both on Android, iOS, web, and any platform. Generally, it's a cross-platform application. So that's what Flutter basically is. Why should you learn Flutter? Flutter is versatile, right? You can, with one code base, build multiple applications, build a particular application on multiple platforms. Like I said earlier, you can build a mobile application, an Android application, a web application, a desktop application, an iOS application, just from one code base, just by writing one particular code, right? It works on all platforms. And that reason is that it is fast, it is simple, and it is a powerful UI framework that works seamlessly. So this is just basically why you should learn Flutter. It's a cross-platform development tool. So now, setting up your Flutter environment. Now I'll be dropping a link for these platforms. Right, I already have a video on my YouTube. You can check the previous videos. I have a video on Flutter installation and getting Flutter set up on your system. So the first thing you need to do is to go to flutter.dev, where you'll be able to download Flutter SDK. Then you have to go to Android Studio. You have to go to Android Studio to download Android, and also go to VS Code to download VS Code. There is VS Code and there is VS Studio, right? So you should not mix it. You'll be needing both of them, right? So I want you to know that they are two different things. Then you should set up your emulator or a physical device. If your system would not be able to carry an emulator, then you want to use a physical device, but I would not advise you use a physical device. Even if you'll be using a physical device, then you should not be using it with your cord. You should be using it via Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, or QR code. In another video, I can take our time to create a video on how you can connect via your phone, that is your mobile device, via QR code or QR code or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth. Right, once you have done all your setup and everything is working fine, to make sure and to confirm it's working fine, you would have to run Flutter Doctor on your terminal. So on your system terminal, you can write cmd then you want Flutter Doctor. Once Flutter is properly set up on your system, everything would click and it will show that is working well. If there's an error, it will also give you, and it will show the error, and it will tell you where the error is and how to fix it. If you have any error, you can always reach out to me at www.davidonuche, no capital letter, no space, davidonuche.lovable.app. You'll be able to reach out to me, send me a message, book a meeting with me, or send me a message pertaining whatever you want me. That is my website. Okay, so with that said, let's go straight to the next. I'll have to take a sip for this. So learn that basics. So Flutter uses a programming language called that. If you are familiar with JavaScript, you are familiar with Java, if you are familiar with C, then that will feel comfortable. You need to start with the basics: variables, functions, control flow, with if, else, and loops, and understand classes and objects. One very important that feature is the null safety. It prevents common error in your code. So I just basically explained it out. I don't want to like keep I wrote it down somewhere, so I don't want to like keep beating around the bush, right? So I just want to go straight to the point. So now I'll be breaking down variables and data types. I've explained variables and data type also in a video on my YouTube. You can take our time to understand what variable is, but if you are not new to programming, then you should know what variables are. You should know what data type are. You should know what functions are. You should know what methods are. Control flow. I already gave an example of what control flow is. That is the if, the else, the if, the else. If this, then do this. Else, if this, else, if this, then do this. Else, do this. Something like that. Loop, classes and objects, null safety. Null safety is very important in Flutter, right? It prevents common errors in your code. Your first Flutter project. Now, how you should step by step now on how to create your first Flutter project. Once you have everything installed on your system, you would want to create. There are different ways to create a Flutter project. You can create it directly from your terminal. You can create it from your VS Code. But one thing you should do first is not to create your Flutter project directly in your drive, right? So you should create a folder separately for your project. So you want to go to your drive, your home drive, not your home now, but your C drive. Your C, go to the C, go to user. You can save it under user. You can save it in your C directly. Create a folder called dev, or you can name it anything else, probably my project, something like that. But it's easier to name it dev, right? So because you would want to be using the what I call it URL now. You want to be using it time to time in your project, right? So you can just name it dev. Then inside that folder, you'll be creating your project. Now you go to your VS Code or your terminal, your home terminal. In your VS Code, you go to the terminal. You want to navigate to that Flutter project, to that folder you created. Once you navigate to that Flutter project you created, then you can just in the terminal write Flutter create dot. Then it's going to create a project. You name the project and you just follow it step by step. Or you can just go to, if you are using a Windows system, you click on Ctrl Shift P, and once you click on Ctrl Shift P, you'll be able to create it will you'll see a drop down. Once you get a drop down, you write Flutter. Once you write Flutter, you say create project. Once you create project, once you click on create project, you get to name your project, and after naming your project, it will automatically create a project for you. And Flutter creates a what I call it now, a foundation. Let's say you want to build your house. You would not just build your house, you will not just lay blocks right on nothing. You have to create a foundation, right? If you understand the building process of a house or a building in general, the architects or those that build the house will initially create a hole on the ground around the place they want. It's called the foundation, where they will heap in concrete and the rest of that. So you want to see the templates Flutter is giving you as your foundation, right? So you'll be working with that. So you, after your project has been created, you want to explore, since you are just new to Flutter, I would love you to explore the meaning of that. Once you run your project, you get to see that Flutter has already built a demo app for you to use. Alright, so you get to understand how that works. If you can understand the function of that, then you'll be able to understand how it works, and it would in return help you build your project further. Like I said already, you have to run it on either your device or your emulator. So there's a popular saying that everything in Flutter is a widget. Well, that is true. Everything in Flutter is a widget, and there are just two main widgets. There's a stateful widget and there's a stateless widget. These are the two main types of widgets. There are other widgets also that you get to frequent in your coding journey, and those widgets are the text, the container, the row, and the column. There are others also like there are also custom widgets, right? So you can customize your own widgets to what you want it to look like. There's button and the likes. So I wrote down something for that also. In Flutter, everything is a widget. Widgets are like building blocks for your application UI. Basically, they are for UI. There are two main types. There's a stateless widget, like you have seen, and there's a stateful widget. The stateless widget, which doesn't change once built. So once you build your application or a particular feature in your application using stateless widget, you should know that would be static, and it will be static and it will not move. And the stateful widget is can change. It can change over time. Some common widgets you use are, like I explained already, are text, container, row, and column. The reason why I'm reading it out is so if there's anything I miss, I'll just come back to it. Right, thank you. So building your UI layout, use scaffold as an app structure. So once you are building your UI, let me just read what I put here, then I'll explain it later. To create a full layout, we use widgets together. The scaffold widget gives you structure for your application, including the app bar and the app bar. If you are new to Flutter, you might not know what app bar is, but I'll explain also. A body and the floating action button. These are just the basics of the Flutter. Once you create your project, you see that also floating action button where you can tap on it and it keep adding. We arrange items using row and column. I'll also explain that. And we style things with padding, margin, and color. This is where your application starts to look alive. So let me explain better. App bar are, let's say, the when you have your application, you see something at the top of the application that is most times static. So that is your app bar. So your app bar is like, most times have text. So let's say you open your application and you see home screen at the top. That was created using an app bar in Flutter, right? So you can customize your app bar to look like what you want it to look like, and you can just leave it the way it is just by adding the things that Flutter already provide, like drawer, text, icon, and the likes. So the body is where all the work comes in now. So the body is where you see your form. For example, let's say you're signing up now, you see your form where you can fill in your name, your email, your password. That is the body of your application. Then the floating action button is for example, the button that you can click on, for example, to sign up or to add count. Let's say you want to add a number now, so you can just click on. Once you create your project, you understand what I'm talking about. The floating action button is that button that you can click on it. You click on it and it will keep adding counts. So the layout with rows and column. Rows are for for text or functions that you want to go this way, while column are for functions you want to go this way. So you can create a row. If you want to create a row, you'll be creating it, your work will be going this way, but a column it will be going this way, it will be arranged in this way, will be arranged in this way. Then styling with padding will make, and margin will make sure your work doesn't fall out of your screen, so everything will be aligned and it will be looking neat. And colors will style your application. It will style your application to look nice and usable, readable, understandable. You would not build a house without painting it, so you want to see your colors as the paint you use to make your house look beautiful. So handling user input. So I explained something earlier which I called text form field, where you input your name, your password, your email and the like. So you can create that using text form field. Text form field is a widget in Flutter. So once you type text form field on your VS Code, then you put this bracket, you'll be able to, then you put this double comma at the top. You'll be able to create a text, and yes, you'll be able to write probably email or password. Is more complicated than that, right? But that's just the basic of it. You can style it to have a border, you can style it to have a background color and the rest of that. If you want me, there will be a time I will create a video on creating form field and the rest of that, so you can understand how to create a custom text form field or a normal text form field. So there's also button. You can create button using elevated button, you can create button using icon button. There's also text button. Text button are those text that you can click on and it will take you to a particular place. Icon button are those icons that you click on and it will take you to a particular place. And elevated button are those buttons that you click on and it will take you to a particular place. Let's say you click on a button and it takes you to login, or you click on a button and it takes you to let's say there's a dark and light mode feature on your application. You can use icon button to create that. And for text button, let's say you want to sign up now on your application and they say forget password. Most times the forget password used to be in a text and the text is clickable. So once you click on that text, it will take you to a particular place where you can forget your password and get a new password. So that is what you call text button. There's also something called gesture detector. Gesture detector, in place of icon button, let's say I don't want to use icon button, I can just create an icon and I will use gesture detector to I will still be able to navigate to and get the exact function I want to get with icon button or elevated button or text button, right? So forms and validation basics. I'll just be reading what I wrote down here. Okay, I don't think I wrote something about that, so let me just say it. So forms and validation basics. So forms are also and validations are those would I say are functions now inside the text form field, right? So let's say you want to register, or you want the user to register with a password, but you want the user to register with password that has number and also a character and a text. So you want the character, the number and the text to be at least 6-digit number. So the form validation basics are the function you create to make that possible. So let's go to the next. Navigation and route. I spoke about navigation and route already, but now I will explain better. Most applications need more than one screen, right? So navigation in Flutter is handling with the navigation widget. You can push a new screen using navigation.push and go back with navigation.pop. For large application, named routes make it easier and keep track of where each screen goes. So moving between screens now, you get to use navigation.push, navigation.route a lot in your application, and it's basically just going to help you navigate through your application, back and forth your application. So for example, I want to sign up my application. Even when I create the elevated button that I told you earlier, this elevated button, this icon button, I will still need a navigation.push or navigation.pop to be able to navigate through. where I want to go to, whether I want to go back or forth. And named route would just generate, there is also a way to automatically generate it. So instead of manually writing your navigation.push, navigation.up, blah 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 blah, you can just generate it, and your app will generate it automatically. So state management. What is state? One of the most important concepts in Flutter is state. State is simply the data that determines what your UI looks like. For simple cases, we use set state, right? This, I don't know if you can see my screen, but yes, I know you can see my screen. So for simple cases, we use set state to update the UI. If multiple widgets need the same state, we can lift the state up to a parent widget. Later, you will explore packages like provider for better state management. Okay, so in your project, let's say you state basically help you manage the state of your application. I don't know if that makes sense, but that is just basically what it is. So you will need let's say you are creating a function, you need to set state for that function so that it would work the way you want it to work. Now, I'm not like explaining with a code, so you will not literally understand what I mean. If you are just new to Flutter or programming in general, you would not really understand what I mean. But I just want you to know now that it helps you manage the state in your application, basically. Now, I will be explaining packages. There's something called packages in Flutter, right? And you'll be using it a lot, especially when you are building a big application. You'll be using it a lot. There's some applications that you see, and you see packages that are over 100 packages, right, on the application. So I would be giving the definition earlier. So Flutter has huge ecosystem for packages. Think of packages like a big plugin you can add to your application for extra functions, and add them in your pubspec.yaml file, this file. Some popular ones for beginners are HTTP for APIs, provider for state management, and shared preferences for local storage. So I'll be explaining what I mean by all this: HTTP, provider, and shared preference, right? I've used them in various applications. So packages now. Packages, first of all, if you are in your VS Code, if you're in your VS Code and you are in your Flutter project, I want you to go down your file. You see a file called pubspec.yaml. So I want you to open that file now and try to pay attention to it to understand what is going on there. So you get to see a place for dependencies. So how to get dependencies? Now, you can just go to your terminal and write flutter get HTTP, or you can go manually to your browser, open Chrome, open Edge, whatever browser you're using, open it and type pub.dev, pub.dev, dev. Then you'll be able to get whatever package you want. So then all you just need to do is, in the search, you type HTTP. Once you type HTTP, you get a plugin, you get the dependency, you copy it, you paste it in your pubspec.yaml, and automatically Flutter would update, and it will update it to work directly with your application. If there will be an issue, it will tell you whether you need to upgrade or downgrade it. Most times sometimes it happens like that, and sometimes it just works perfectly well. So HTTP are for URL. So let's say I want to call a URL of a particular website or a particular link. I would need HTTP to call that URL. There's also something called URL launcher, but HTTP are basically for URLs also. Then provider are for state management. So we spoke about state management initially, so you use provider for state management. And shared preferences are just like your local host. So instead of getting a Firebase I'll talk about Firebase sometime later. But instead of getting a Firebase account and creating a Firebase project, you can just save some things using shared preference, right? So there are some data you don't need to have access to, but users need to save those data, right? So you can save those data using shared preferences. So that is basically what it is. I spoke about install HTTP package, right? So to fetch data, I also spoke about fetching data, like to fetch data from APIs, and I spoke about APIs. You need HTTP, right? And to display this data, to display this data in list view, you need to display this data as list view. So to display data in a list view. Oh, sorry. So I wrote it now, but I think I'm talking too much. Let me pause. So let's take a deep breath. Let me read what I wrote here, so I don't cut anything out. Flutter has a huge ecosystem for packages. Okay, I think I've spoken about that. Then connect to APIs, right? So now let's make our application dynamic by connecting to the internet. With the HTTP package, you can fetch data from APIs. For example, you might connect to a weather API, display results in a list view, and handle load and error state. This makes your app interactive and useful. So let's say you've collected, you've gotten an API you want to use, and you've connected it to you've connected the package to your application. Now, for you to see the API, you can use a list view format where you can, for example, now like I said, you get the weather API. You can be able to see, oh, in Lagos this is this, the weather is, or in United States the weather is so and so, in Ghana the weather is so and so, for example. So the next thing is handle load state errors. So is handle loading and error state. So at some point you might get error, you need to handle this. So I can create a project where I'll break it down on how to handle errors in load, or how to handle load and error state, right? But just in case I've not done that and you want to progress, because you will not wait for me to do it, right? You can just go on flutter.dev and you get a detailed breakdown on this thing, right? So yeah, that's basically it. I want this project to be short, and I want this video to be short and impactful. So project ideas that you can create as a first Flutter project are, my first Flutter project, what I created was a CV application. I just created an application where I created a cycle avatar. My picture was there. I don't know if I still have it. If I still have it, I can just display it on the screen. Then I wrote my name, my institution, my occupation, and some other things like that. So but beginner project idea that you can use and you can use to get jobs starting out as a Flutter developer is a to-do app, a weather application, notes application, or e-commerce application. Or better still, you can create a network code application. So I have an application that I used as a project some time ago, network codes. So what the application basically do is to give users access to network code without going online. So I just manually write everything out on the code, and what they just have to do is to go on the app and get it, and it's updated. So these are beginner projects. If you want me to create anyone, if you're interested in anyone, then together I can just come live and we'll create it together, or I can just create a project while you watch and see what I do and probably follow after. Now, the best practices for creating clean and readable code, the best practice for programming is to keep your code clean and readable. I've worked with developers that, trust me on this, they want to show that they are very good. Yes, I'm very good, but can the next developer read what you're writing? Just in case you elevate and you leave this world one day, would the company have issue hiring someone else? So you would want your code to be clean and readable. You To do this, you can use comments, right? Okay, you use comment to say this is doing this is doing this at every given point. Also, you should make it understandable. You should not just name it because you should not just name a file because you are the one creating. You name it with something that every other person that comes to the project to be able to relate to it and say, okay, this is what this person mean here. So when this person is creating this project, say you will not just name it DWQF. Instead, you would name it by its name: database, home screen database, home screen this, dashboard this, profile page this, blah blah blah. So you want to name it according to what it is. So when the next programmer is coming up, he or she will understand, right? The next thing is break UI into usable widgets. So you would not want to have. I saw a code of a developer. He told me that I should help him review his code because he was having errors, and I saw that he created like 10 different files in a particular file. So a particular file have 10 different files in it. With that, I already know that yes, he's using AI to build this application, right? This platform. But when you are using AI I'm not against you using AI. AI will help you develop faster, right? So instead of spending 10 hours, you can spend 1 hour to do the work of 10 hours. But I would not advise you just copy everything that AI gives you out. You want to take out time to understand what it's saying and separate your code, know how to name your files. Also learn how to debug with Flutter dev tools, and also stay updated with Flutter communities. Join Flutter WhatsApp group just in case you are a student on campus like I was. I just graduated this year. I studied political science. So just in case you are a developer on campus, you should try to join tech communities on your campus. If you are not a developer on campus, join tech community around you. There are tech community around you. Join tech community around you. I was in my 100 level to 200 level, I was the assistant Flutter lead. In my 200 level to 300 level, I was the Flutter lead. In my 300 level to 400 level, I was the co-lead, right? Along the line, in my 200 level to 300 level, I was the NASA Space App lead for Ile-Ife. So I schooled in Osun State. In Osun State, there's a place called Ile-Ife. It's a particular jurisdiction, so I was the NASA Space App lead there. And other communities, other tech communities, I've met amazing people. I've connected with amazing people, right? So you will get to meet amazing people. You get to work with amazing people, and jobs come from there. I get DMs almost every day. So, oh David, I want you to work on this project. Oh David, a company is doing this. Oh David, this. Oh David, that. Yeah, that is actually very good, and that is just basically because I joined community and I connected with people. So the next step, so after you have done all this, the next thing you should start looking into is exploring animation. Why you should build a nice application, you should also want to take out time to make your application interesting, and animation will help you make your application interesting. So you will have things like bouncing effects and motion in, motion out, and the rest of that. Learn advanced state management like block, river pod, mobx, and the likes, So these different state management are works differently. Basically, they don't do everything totally different, right? But they work differently, right? So you should take out time to study on block. I can also write a blog about block, river pod, mobx, and also the few that are frequently used by developers. Work with Firebase just in case you are a developer, a Flutter developer, and you want to connect with backend. You want to try. You want your application to come alive, and you don't know any backend developer. You are not yet ready or strong enough to start writing backend programming language. Take out time to get yourself familiar with Firebase. If you want, I would also create a course on Firebase to explain step by step on how to connect Flutter to Firebase. It's very easy. because Flutter and Firebase are one family basically. So you should connect your project with Firebase, and it will be easier to get authentication. At least that is the first thing almost everybody use Firebase for. You get authentication, save data, and the likes of that. Then after all this, let's say you have your application ready. The next thing is to push it, build it and push it to either Google Play Store or Apple Play Store. Now when I say build it, you might say, oh, I've built my application already. Now there's a way of building your application to get your, once you have written your code, now you want to build your application. You build your application, you get your app bundle or your APK. That APK is what you publish live for other people to be able to download and use. So thank you very much. I believe this video was impactful. I believe really it was impactful because it was also impactful to me. Take out time to please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Like and drop a comment. What in this video stood out for you? What stood out for you? Where do you want to learn more? What do you want to learn more? And if you have any question, you can always drop it in the comment section or reach out to me on LinkedIn. I am David Onuche, DAVIDONUCHA on all my social media platforms. But on Instagram, you reach out to me as I am David Onuche. You can also send me an email at iamdavidonuche@gmail.com. So that's basically it. Practice every day. Trust me on this. If you want to be a great developer, if you want to be a good developer, you need to stand up every day, write code every day, watch videos on programming every day, expand your knowledge, practice every day on using projects. Not just watching the video, you need to use project to practice. And don't forget, join communities. Follow me on LinkedIn. I take out time to post once in a while updates on Flutter and the likes. And also you can join my Medium community. You can check me out on Medium. I've written a couple of articles on Flutter, Dart, Firebase, and other amazing stuff. Thank you very much, and that is all.